pretty funny.
All right, so McGonigle has been way too good and Erie to still be there right now. So far this season, he's averaging 286 in Double-A with a 972 OPS. Let's compare that to a few other former superstar prospects that are currently in the majors. Riley Green was a 298 average, just a 906 OPS in Double-A, his final season there. Another Tiger, Spencer Torkelson, 263 average, 933 OPS. So McGonigle's OPSing more than both of those guys. All right, let's go big picture. Bryce Harper, 256 average his final season in Double-A, 724 OPS. Bobby Witt Jr., average 295, pretty good. OPS 939, not as good as McGonigle. And then Ronald Acuna, ever heard of him? 287 average, 894 OPS. Of everyone I just named, Kevin McGonigle has the highest OPS in Double-A. Again, Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Bryce Harper, Bobby Witt, and Ronald Acuna. Kevin McGonigle has a higher OPS in Double-A in their final seasons than anybody right now. Why is he still in Double-A? The answer, I don't know. Get him in Triple-A right now, because if he can have this sort of success in Triple-A for a consistent month, and the Tigers can clinch a playoff spot and clinch the AL Central early, which they are going to do, then I don't see why not calling Kevin McGonigle up and sprinkling him into the lineup and let him get some experience in some high leverage situations where it's not actually that high leverage because you've already clinched a playoff spot. And then if he can find lightning, if he can stay hot, then why not keep him around for the postseason and have him platoon with Javi Baez, who is currently OPSing less than 700 here in August. Again, he's got to have some success at AAA first before they even consider that. But he can't have success at AAA if they're keeping him in AA right now, and I can't think of a single good reason why he should still be in AA. He's mastered that level already.
Well, I think maybe one of the reasons it would be he's only played 27 games there. I mean, that's really not a ton of games as far as how long these guys have stints at certain levels.
Yeah, but at some point you just know. Like
right.
What was you saw the tweet yesterday.
Yeah, it was Greg Gagne, the play-by-play guy for Erie, fills in on the Tigers radio broadcast all the time. Said it was only the second home run he's ever seen hit out of the ballpark where Erie plays, ever. And he's been doing play-by-play there for over 10 years. So pretty crazy stuff. And I think it's worth noting as well, McGonigle has a north of 1,000 OPS at two different leagues this year. He did it the same thing in the Midwest League with West Michigan. So it's not like one of these situations where, I mean, obviously AA is harder than high A, but it's not one of those situations where he's just gotten hot as soon as he got called up, right? He was been dominant at the lower level and then gets called up to AA and has still been hot. And that AA is always the level where people describe it as the make it or break it level. You know, like AA is really where you figure out if you're really going to have a chance to go to the big leagues or not, and it's a crucial part in guys' development. Well, he already has the same amount of home runs in AA as he had in the high A this season.
That's insane.
In much less games. So I think it's worth noting, if you remember correctly, Colt Keith absolutely killed AA in Erie as well in 2023. Colt Keith was probably, at least from my, I've really been following the minor leagues for the Tigers, had one of the better stretches that I've seen in a long time from a minor leaguer. I mean, he was being talked about like crazy, jumped up the ranking boards, like skyrocketed. He had a 976 OPS in 59 games in Erie. 325 batting average, 14 bombs, 50 ribbies. Like, it's still, his numbers were ungodly, and the way he was being talked about was crazy. And it's still not even close to the level that Kevin McGonigle is at right now. So I agree that he has outpaced Max Clark as far as these two guys coming up together at some point. He has outpaced this league as far as I totally thought he'd be here the rest of the year, start with AAA next year, and then maybe gets called up during the season at some point. That is completely flipped. I mean, people are talking about him like he's going to be on the opening day roster next year for the Tigers.
I'd be surprised if he wasn't on the opening day roster the way he's playing right now.
Right.
Like, it was a Max Clark, Kevin McGonigle duo, the same way it was a Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson duo. Throw that out the window. This guy is accelerating so fast down the highway right now that he has to be called up to AAA just to give him the slight chance of, hey, if you stay hot, let's get him some at-bats at the big league level in September, and if he cools off and can't figure it out, okay, that's fine. Right. Send him back down to AAA. He's not on the playoff roster. But, why keep him in AA right now? What's the incentive? What are you gaining from it? The answer is nothing.
Right, and most of the time with these high prospects, too, they spend the least amount of time in AAA out of all, because it's the closest to the big league, so it's like you're actually going up against a lot of veteran pitchers in AAA and everything. So when you do get to AAA, it's like, okay, if you're here for like 2 weeks and you're hitting fine, like why not just be in the majors at this point? So
right.
AA is the league that you usually see guys in the longest, but it's not like he's absurdly young. He just turned 21. I mean, that is very young, but it's not like one of those things where he's only 19, he's only 20. Like, we got to play this thing out patiently. He did just turn 21, so I think that there is a realistic opportunity for him to, at least by the end of the September call-up potentially. I don't see it just by the way that Scott Harris has always treated these things. I remember the talk that they rushed Torkelson up, they rushed Riley Green up. I guess you could say that it kind of did for Torkelson just because of the rough stretch that he did have at some point, but I don't know, long-term wise, it seems like it hasn't really been that big of an effect on those two guys. Jackson Jobe, they did the same thing last year. I think it's a little bit different with a pitcher versus hitter because we discussed this yesterday. When McGonigle's up, it's not like hey, we'll toss him in on the second game of a back-to-back or whatever, and we'll pitch him in pinch hitting spots versus righties. Like, no, he's going to be every single day playing, hitting in one of the 2 or 3 holes. Like, there's no
I don't
shot.
think that has to be the case this year. I think he'd be in like the Javi Baez slot playing shortstop.
But he's playing every day. Like, you're not calling
Why?
Kevin McGonigle up just to be a platoon guy versus right-handed pitching.
Why? But the incentive isn't to call him up and have him be in the 1 or 2 hole every day. The incentive would be call him up. Again, this is also assuming. This is also assuming he like thrives in AAA the first couple of weeks he's there. This is just here's some big league experience, man. Here's what it's like to be in these. Here's what Yankee Stadium's like in September. Like, if you clinch an AL Central spot as early as the Tigers are probably going to do, why not the last 3 weeks of the season or 2 weeks of the season or 1 week of the season? Just get them some at-bats to where there's not a ton of pressure, but it's still that late September feel to the season in the 9 hole. Like, I don't think they should have these like crazy expectations for him. It's simply, here's some at-bats. If you can have some success early on, maybe we'll keep you around for the playoff roster.
No, he's the number 2 prospect in baseball. Like,
this is also one of the deeper lineups there is in baseball. Like, it's not like he's just going to get inserted into the 2 spot and take Glaber's spot in the lineup this year. Like, that's the plan long term, not this year.
When you bring up these top guys, like, they don't just come in and ride the bench and occasionally get run. Like, they are playing every single day major parts of the lineup. You see Roman Anthony's become one of the most important hitters on the Red Sox once they've gotten hot later in this year. Number 1 prospect in baseball. Like, I just think that it's a little bit different than when they did bring up Colt Keith. And obviously Riley Green and Torkelson, it's hard to compare those situations because the Tigers were in a much different spot.
But this isn't a midseason call-up. We need your help. This is let's just
then what
get
else
you some
are they calling him up?
at-bats.
I mean, like, he's coming up to help, though. Like, you would assume that he's going to be better than Javi Baez at the plate.
That's what I'm saying.
Or else
Javi
you're not
Baez
bringing
is
him
in
up.
like the 9 hole right now.
I know, but I'm just like, I just feel like if McGonigle is up, it's a commitment. Like, you're here and you're here. Like, you're here to stay.
Well, if he struggles for 2 weeks, I don't think it's worth keeping him on the playoff roster. But if he can catch some fire and it's like, oh my God, this is like actually one of the best hitting prospects in baseball, I don't see the reason to not keep him around and have him be it. You say you don't like him coming off the bench. I don't see why. Like, AJ Hinch likes pinch hitting more than anybody else. So why can't he be a platoon guy with Javi, who's struggling more than he's struggled at any point this season in the month of August?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think this is it. Like, McGonigle is not something we've seen as far as Tigers prospects while they're good, and I don't want them to treat him like he's one of these utility guys that plays sometimes. Like, he is the number 2 prospect in baseball. Like, he is maybe the best hitting prospect we've seen on the Tigers in a long time. Probably better than Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson were, just as a pure hitter. So I don't want them to treat this like, he's coming in to maybe help here and there. I want him to be a core part of this lineup because he obviously is going to be for hopefully a decade or so.
Do you believe Kevin McGonigle could help this Tigers team or be on the Tigers at any point the rest of the season, whether that's the playoffs or just September? Before we even consider that, you know what they have to do? Call him up to AAA.
Right.
He has mastered the AA level. 972 OPS. That's better than Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Bryce Harper, Bobby Witt, and Ronald Acuna in their final seasons in AA. bring him to AAA. He has no reason to be in AA anymore. I'm sorry, the Max Clark, Kevin McGonigle duo, it's not a duo anymore. It's it's McGonigle and then Clark.
I was just going to ask you that. Do you think they're like scared to split those two guys up? I mean, also,
why would they be scared?
Clark has also been really good in AA too. So it's not like McGonigle's obviously just been on another level.
Clark's still the number one outfield prospect in baseball.
Yeah, Clark has still been dominating. So like it's not like it's some like he's struggling and McGonigle's doing really good. So like I'm not saying you can't keep those guys together. Clark is also younger than McGonigle. So, but even when you look at MLB Pipeline, they have the ETA, the estimated time of arrival, as going to the MLB club. They've changed McGonigle to 2026, and Max Clark is still at 2027.
Might need to be 2025 for McGonigle. It really might be. 989-837-6125. We'll get to some message.